Growing a new YouTube channel in 2023 feels a lot like, that first time I walked into Stormvale Castle, and, well, I think a lot of us know how that went, right?
Put these foolish ambitions to rest.
And so it feels intimidating, right? It feels like you're almost in this insurmountable challenge to try to establish yourself in a field where there's just so many content creators out there. And maybe growth's going to happen, maybe it won't, but at the end of the day, I've actually found a lot of satisfaction out of making these videos. It's really given me a chance to engage in the content that I love and just kind of talk about it, and all these thoughts that I have, it's usually kind of just kept in. I usually, I'll say a thing or two here to friends, right? But I'm able to kind of vent them out, and it's led me to some games that I wouldn't have normally played that have been really good gaming experiences. Well, let's do it. It's gonna do it. It's gonna do it. Oh, yeah, boy. Oh, that's a thematic finish too, right there. Sarah Noah coming in with the hawk dive to put her down.
No choice but to retreat.
Get out of my town. Experiences. And then it's led me some games that I might not have been inclined to play that were not quite as exciting, right?
More of them are joining the fight.
Can we just get all of them in? Just pile them in, please. Pile them in.
You may be reaching the end of their onslaught, but don't relax just yet.
I was just starting to enjoy myself.
I'm glad one of us was. Jesus. But ultimately, it's been a positive experience, right? That said, I've had this idea in my head if I was going to make a YouTube channel, and it's something I think a lot of us thought about, and I've thought about a lot. I was going to do these long form videos and the whole Let's Play setup, right? And I don't think it really suits what I want to do on here. It seems more streaming inclined, which I'm definitely interested in trying out. But what I'm going to try to do is this shorter format, which is what I'm experimenting with right now. And so this video is going to be kind of a reflection on, 2 to 3 months working on YouTube, and an attempt to kind of give a recap and review of the two major games that we've had on here is Midnight Suns and Triangle Strategy, and try out this new highly edited format. So I hope you enjoy it. Triangle Strategy is a game I don't know if I would have tried if not for starting the channel. It's on the fringes of my comfort zone with a strong nostalgia pulling me back to those old Final Fantasy Ogre Battle Tactics PS1 days, right? And despite its tendency to operate more like an interactive graphic novel than a game at times, Triangle Strategy really hit a nice rhythm for tactical game by building its combat on a foundation of symmetry where the enemies operate on the same basic rules as the player. This makes planning and engaging on the tactical layer satisfying and consistent. The roster of characters is big enough where you get a solid variety, both of thematic composition as well as the mechanics on offer, and each one brings a distinction to the field and makes the characters feel useful, without pushing so far to make it feel like anyone is completely overpowered or underpowered or useless out there. The game also has a nice, simple resource management. There's a traditional gold XP economy governing character advancement, equipment, and one-time use items, standard procedure stuff, right? But there's also the one meta resource, the kudos, and it gives access to these big ones for battle abilities, some backstory stuff, and some rare upgrade components. It's rewarded for clever play that happens naturally, intuitively, and organically in missions, and it's just a nice additional layer to reward thoughtful play that seamlessly merges with the rest of the game, right? Most unique to Triangle Strategy is the choice system called Scales of Conviction. It's a little gamey and weird. Basically, you don't make the decisions as the main character, but you're trying to influence your companions to vote one way or the other based on the lore bits you pick up while you walk around town, explore, and talk to NPCs. It's a cool idea, and it goes a long way towards making the big decisions feel very impactful. And from what I can tell, these choices really do have a big long-term consequence on the direction of the game, beyond a few token epilogue adjustments like we see in a lot of titles. I didn't always love it, especially when I felt strongly about a choice, but it did have me immersed and thinking hard over which way to go at times. All right, so that just means going back to persuasion, right? Okay, let's talk it out. We gotta talk it out. All right, talking it out. Let's see. It's not here. A winnable fight, right? And we do have the allies coming potentially. We don't necessarily know that, but we would know. It's not wrong that house in that right there. But the one to the south, the house to the south, not Tellior. Like Tellior's die here, then we can't do anything. We know Tellior's not coming. Survival is key. The house to the south of us is funny. It's fine. They're probably going to come out. It's got to have an appeal to it. This is what Tellior was worried about too. Tellior was like to the death. Like it sounds good. Tellior was like, oh, what if? But the actual execution, and I was just like, oh, there's no way. Is how you lose. Here we are with this option. But that's like a meta decision, and I don't want to do a meta decision. I want to put myself in the shoes, right? I'm Sarah Noah in someone's house. They're not home, and I'm talking to their cat, all right? And then I look at the cat, and the cat looks at me judgingly and just meows. because the cat knows the answer, but it's not going to tell me because it's a cat. Why would the cat tell me the answer, right? Overall, I finished Triangle Strategy feeling really good, and the time spent was well worth the experience. Even if the exposition went a little long at times, the game obviously wants me to replay it in a New Game Plus, which really isn't usually my thing, and I probably won't be making an exception in this case, but I'm still glad I took this game for a spin, right? Then there is Marvel's Midnight Suns. I fully respect that my take on Midnight Suns may be biased, as I really enjoyed Firaxis's past work. XCOM, Civilization, they're some of my favorite series of all time, and that credibility is a big part of what made me to try one of these big IP intellectual property games, when historically those franchise Marvel games are not really the best quality. I'm nearing the end game in my Midnight Suns playthrough, and honestly, I don't actually know I'm going to make it across the finish line. Where Triangle Strategy was a well-balanced tactical experience, Midnight Suns is kind of a hodgepodge of so many different gameplay mechanics. It reminds me when I was a kid and I got my own big plastic cup to fill up at a restaurant, right? And I decided I'm going to be a mad soda scientist and create my own beverage. A little Coke, some Dr. Pepper, a twist of Sprite, a blast of Mountain Dew, and surely this great idea, since I love all these things. And then I take my first sip and it's sweet and I'm totally feeling it. And I'm like, all right. And then a few sips later, all those dissonant flavors start mingling resentfully and a slow feeling of regret starts settling in as I realize that this is my drink and I've made a mistake. Midnight Suns is all over the place and really plays more like a puzzler than a tactical game. I felt like I was playing old school Lolo or Bomberman more than I was a superpowered tactics game. Then we add in a deck building system tied to each character and more resources than your average farming sim, and the game is just kind of a mess. Why not tag in a watered down friendship thing because Persona's great, right? Sure, why not? The whole game feels like it was built in a boardroom where a bunch of guys who never played games collected an assortment of successful mechanics from 10 different games that did well and jammed them all down a development team's inbox and said, make this with a minimum of 20 snarky quips per character, right? The combat is repetitive. The RPG exploration feels tacked on. The dialogue is just painful to listen to. The one redeeming quality I could find that's the deck building. It was actually enjoyable at times, but it's often a chore just because you're only really able to deploy 3 characters, okay? And these characters are what controls your deck. You get 8 cards per character, but really, you're almost always locked into 1 character per mission, right? So you have 2 to choose from. And since your total level is tied to your main character, you're probably going to bring them most of the time. So you really just get to choose 1 character per mission oftentimes. Not necessarily, but in general, that's how it works, right? So when I had my A-team out using the deck synergy I'd prepared for them, there was actually a lot of satisfaction in that. But I found that was just rare occasions when I could do it. And even worse for me, which is why, in full disclosure, I may not be giving the game as fair a chance as I could, is that this clunky mess came out of one of the best studios for tactical games out there, and we got this instead of another Civilization or XCOM or Elder Gods Forbid, something actually new. These 2 games made an interesting start for myself here on YouTube just because I got to dive right into like one surprise hit and one pretty hard miss back to back, right? And so I hope you're enjoying this setup here, as clunky as it is, getting going. I'm enjoying making these kinds of videos, so hopefully you enjoy this content. I'm not completely done with the full narrated live stream style. Live stream being the key word there is what I'd like to try to do next. So if you do enjoy any of these videos, keep an eye out. I'm trying to get my schedule sorted out for when I might go live, whether it's here or on Twitch or something like that. We'll see, right? Could be fun. For those of you watching with me, I hope your time was well spent. Hope you had an enjoyable moment or a chuckle or an affirming nod or, I don't know, something you really got out of this video that made it worth your time with me here. Our time is the most valuable resource we have, and you spending it with me means a great deal, right? So, random internet friend, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take care and have a good day. I'll see you then.